All right, well, hello, it is Gabe Strom. How are you today? I am doing wonderful. And today we're going to go through a very quick tutorial, kind of a LinkedIn foundations, if you will. And for those of you that know how much of a fan I am of LinkedIn, and perhaps we're already connected on LinkedIn or you're already a member of the Social Media Underground group on LinkedIn. If not, check that out sometime later. But today, one of the reasons I'm such a big fan of LinkedIn is for anybody that's in business to business or any kind of business development role, LinkedIn is by far the best collection of business professionals in the social media world on the entire internet. There's a lot of great places you can be online, but the key is to be effective with your time. So I'm going to respect your time today and be really quick with this quick LinkedIn tutorial, but I want to show you one of the first things and kind of the foundations that you should be focusing on with your LinkedIn marketing. And one of the things that a lot of people don't understand about LinkedIn is that it's a mini search engine. Just like Google is a search engine, people actually go to LinkedIn who are looking for particular contacts. And as you can see here, I'm here on my home page here of LinkedIn. If you scroll down, you can see a couple small stats here. You can see that my profile has been viewed by seven people in the past 3 days, and I've shown up in search results 21 times in the past 3 days. Now, this isn't a lot, but I want you to understand that about 2 months ago or 3 months ago, before I learned some of the things I'm about to share with you, I was showing up between 0 and 1 times in search results. And so first question you might be having is, Gabe, what are the search results? And I'm going to explain that real quickly. If you go here to the top right-hand corner of LinkedIn, you can see that you can do a search, and if I do the drop click here, I can do a search for people, for updates, for jobs, for those of you that are searching for work, for companies, for groups, etc. So I'm just going to do a quick people search, and I'm going to type in online video and do a quick search here and show you what I'm talking about here. And as you can see, when I do a search for online video, we've got about 151,000 results that come up for professionals on LinkedIn that have those keywords online video. And as you can see here, not number one, number two, not number one, but 2, 3, 4, 5, but actually number 6 down here at the bottom is my profile showing up. So number 6 out of 151,000. Now, this didn't happen overnight. I actually learned some tips and techniques from a good buddy of mine by the name of Lewis Howes, who taught me a lot of things that I've learned on LinkedIn. I want to show you some of the things that I changed on my profile because I, a couple months ago was showing up nowhere in the search results, and maybe you're not showing up right now. And your question might be, well, Gabe, how can I show up for my particular niche? And we can go even more specific. I could do a search even more specific and say Chicago online video, which is where I live. And that's even more targeted. So we've got Monica Rides, a good friend of mine here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm on number 5. So number 5 for the local search, number 6 for the international search. You can see it's a much smaller niche when you go geographically. There's only 6,197 results that show up when you do local here. So what do we mean by this online local search? Well, let me go over here to my profile. And I'll go back over to this little chart here. I'm just going to click on who's viewed my profile. And maybe you've done this, maybe you haven't, but you can basically get a bird's eye view. You can see people who have viewed your profile, and you can see here back in February, before I knew this, I was getting, between anywhere from 30 to looks like about 30 views or so per week. When we had a big spike here to 107 views per week, and it's kind of tapered off, 83 views per week. Let's go ahead and click on appearances and search. And likewise here, obviously you show up in search a lot more, which is that search feature I just showed you. So how does this all work? Now, maybe you've poked around with this, and after you watch this video, you can go back and check out your appearances and search. But very simply, there's 5 key areas. This is the meat and potatoes of today's video. 5 areas that I want to hook you up with where you should have your keywords, your main primary keywords, to help you show up in search. And because of this video is going to be short, I'm not going to go through how to find those keywords, but I am going to show you those top 5 areas to place those keywords. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up my handy dandy OmniDazzle tool so we can do some drawing here on the LinkedIn screen. Let's go ahead and minimize this. All right, so the first place, really like we talked about, there's 5 key areas that you want to have your keywords in your profile to make sure that you are showing up for your primary keywords, whatever industry you're in. If you're in healthcare or in consulting or social media or real estate, whatever industry you want to show up for as the go-to expert in your local area, there's 5 key areas. Number uno, okay, is right here in your description. You can see I've got online video marketing expert here, right up here in the title. So I've got some other keywords here. I've got social media as one of my other main keywords, and you can kind of sprinkle those in there, but you want to really focus in on a couple key areas. So the first one is your kind of your main headline. Second one is your current work experience. Third place to have your keywords is your past work experience. And I'm going to go ahead and scroll down here, because the other two areas are down here at the bottom. So we've also got the summary, which is number 4 area that you want to have your keywords. And the 5th area that you want to have your keywords in is your specialties. Okay, your specialties. And you can see I've got video marketing and YouTube marketing and social media and all these different great keywords in here. So just a quick refresh, you can take a kind of a quick browse through your profile, and this is where you want to have your main keywords. Again, we've got our current work experience, past work experience, our profile, start up here, our profile, so that's 3, our summary, which is 4, and the 5th place is, forgive this here, our specialties. So it got a little messy with moving around here, but hopefully you get the idea. So this is really the starting place for anything that you're doing on LinkedIn, is you want to have a fully optimized profile. So I got asked by a client the other day, Gabe, what's a good foundation for building my social media marketing campaign? And if you're starting on LinkedIn, again, if you're in the business space, I would highly recommend turning off everything else. Stop listening to Twitter. Stop focusing on your WordPress blog. If you're just getting started, the very best thing to do is to go where your perfect target audience already is. And if you're in the business arena, there's a lot of reasons why we like LinkedIn. Number 1, it's the number 1 business social network in the world. Number 2, the average income on LinkedIn, I believe the most recent stats I saw was about $107,000 per year, okay, compared to Facebook, which is in the, I think the $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 range, somewhere in there. Number 3 is LinkedIn is literally littered with decision makers. So again, if you're in B2B or some kind of direct sales or any kind of corporate sales environment, you want to reach out and find those decision makers, get past the gatekeepers. LinkedIn, I believe the last stats I heard was about 45% of all LinkedIn users are already decision makers. You don't have to, you can kind of cut through all the weeds. And I believe, if I heard this correctly, I believe Facebook is only about 20 to 25% decision makers. So you got a lot more people in Facebook, right? Facebook's the 600 million person gorilla, right? The second largest website in the world. LinkedIn, I believe, is kind of way down the list. But for business professionals, for decision makers that have influence, that have money to buy your products and services, this is where you want to start. And there's so many great things that you can do with LinkedIn. And if you want to learn more about that, you can go check out my good buddy Lewis House. He's got a really inexpensive course. I believe it's under $200 that walks through all the great stuff that you can do in LinkedIn. But hopefully this will give you a starting point and give you some value today. And I felt inspired this afternoon to crank this video out for you and hook you up with some kind of the 5 key areas to start keyword to your profile. So take action on this. Stop this video as this is over and go back into your profile and take a look at how dense your keywords are. And I'll give you one last little tip before we go here. If you go to your primary industry, and let's just say you're a Chicago real estate, S-T-E-S-T-A-T-E, investor. Oops. Okay, let's say that that's the niche that you want to target. You're looking to be the go-to real estate investor in your area. You can see here in Chicago, we've got about 1,700 local real estate investors, so this would be a kind of a fairly easier niche to get into. But there's a little strategy I'm going to teach you called reverse engineering. And if you don't know what it takes to get to rank on the top of your category, different niches, different spaces have kind of different competition levels, just take a click on some of the first people, the number 1, number 2, number 3 people in your space, and kind of, we call this reverse engineering because we want to kind of spy on what they're doing. And so all you're doing here, if you're kind of gathering this information, is go take a look here. We've got Tony, I cannot pronounce his last name, Skimika, perhaps. Sorry, Tony, if you're watching this video and I butchered your name. But take a look at where he's got keywords. You can see here he's got Chicago RE investor, so he doesn't even have it fully spelled out. That might be one area that you can kind of change for him. He's got realtor, so he doesn't even have his main keywords in his current or past work. So this might be a lot easier than we expected, but if you scroll down here, you can see in his summary, he does have some of these keywords. So let's scroll down here and let's see here in his summary. Let me pull up my handy dandy pen here. He's got Chicago real estate in his summary here, Chicago real estate. So he doesn't have the word investor, but in his specialties, he's also got Chicago real estate. So here's an example where you could probably pretty easily, by having a little bit more detailed summary, a little bit more detailed specialty, and more importantly, have your main keywords in your professional bio up here and also in your current and past work, and you could probably knock Tony off this number 1 spot here and become the number 1 go-to person. Of course, that's if you're in the real estate space in Chicago. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video, guys. I'm going to post this here in our social media underground group, which if you're not a member of yet, I'm going to also post a link for that below this video. Make sure you join the group. We have lots of goodies and resources that we share in there to help each other out to maximize our social media efforts in an hour a day or less. Folks, this is Gabe Strom. Hope you have an awesome day. We'll talk to you soon.